Ja, typen.
Good morning, Doug. It's Stuart online.
Chairman Freeland's here too. Good morning, Santa.
Oh, ja, typen. Good morning, Honorable Freeland. What is your location?
Holding the Window Rock.
Window Rock. Okay. Honorable Stewart, what is your location?
I am going to Sawmill tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair. I'm on the line as well. This is Sharon.
Good morning, Ms. Begay. We do have a quorum right now. It is currently 8:04 a.m. We only have 2 hours. So we'll call this meeting to order. My name is Rick Nez, Chair of RDC. Ja, typen staff. Ms. Begay, could you provide the roll call, please?
Mr. Chair and members of the committee, this is Resource Development Committee. Regular meeting, teleconferencing, April 7th, 2021, 8 a.m. Roll call. Ricky Naz,
Delegate Nez is present.
Wilson Stewart Jr.,
Present.
Thomas Walker Jr., Thomas Walker Jr., Herman M. Daniels, Herman M. Daniels, Mark Freeland,
Present.
Key Allen Begay,
Good morning, Kayla is present.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, you have 4 members present and constitute a quorum for you to conduct your meeting this morning. I'm
Thank you
going
very
back
much,
and mute.
Thank you very much, Ms. Begay. Honorable Begay, would you offer the prayer this morning, please?
Good morning, Nana. Brother. Brother, brother. Good morning. Kodosiro. It's a reason. Didn't you see another deeply? Quite a shame. Such a doctor teacher. He had got the answer on lonely. Deep in the be. He had not need on this. Adocon. Hahodiado. He cannot in eo. Naniska. Been down to Nanate. Adocon. Some Kai. Behalf of the Lia. Each that a. Nan set. Kaya. San Artocon. Bake it lado. Babe kind he in it. Artocon. Be careful it in. Not lost it at that a. Artocon. Artocon. Eat the holoni. What after the holoni. But in it out contact in his whole God. Don't you go by here and sing. Everything that is being provided to us. The gas yard, the unique kid. We don't beg for it, but we live in it, God. A large being to go by here and send on this vehicle. I don't hit season zini. Hit it. I don't lady hit after. Hadn't last stop, huh? In the Stockholm. That she been hit another with another scene the hun hit season zini, but hot in the con. We need to attend. Na ini don't so deals in. Hot ego don't go. He's not listening to this God. Konka deep in the quite a resource development committee. Diego quite in the midst of the Navajo Nation government. Home. Did ego nan lini. Khanda in sa kodo baby na sa kodon here hotels in the kodo. Pahuit after Banahuit a kodo edit ko apeni be resource development committee Diego Conca Kaya and Lane. Other arts when he program get neat hit shinko Panahata Pan Nahudit Asko Nabkiel arts for con hit Nan Lini. Be bait indo bati nini beben Shakunka. He large and has the chairman. Neighbor Hansen out of the Nash Khan it arts brothers that the snow get a hit out of the trader. Out of his staff that 8 arts for con. Shabata Holianto out of Konshab that didn't eat. One has Baina at the Yusin hard she start eat ego kodo banana inch catholic god. Out of Conquered Martin Dean hit nego Conquer Bishbans and the con. Skida those aren't con hit Neban de Kaba Tadati car hit arts for home. Has hit Nan Lini baby chin that has it. I want that 8 or that best chi a team out of public safety out of this part of the higher. The last order that new was that he got detail could don't hit Nan Lini by Yale. That's what it could all. So based on skiddy needle and I hit it. It's a sec echo. Got 8 arts for Conca Shabata Holianto. Achen the Hinan. With 8 and Lini arts for home. Shabata Holianto Shabka that just like a Halabananas arts for at the Yusin at the car. I don't need that case yet. I need to come. At the sheet are near lab, it's not need to need to put it at arts for Ecuador. And hit Nan Lindy by 8 into by Yale baby Nashiko Kodo. Haku needs and do it ever when not net be. It's really sad, Lini conquered bitch out on Nisi. Being sea case of conquered. A large and hot dish plus a bay any pain cane it ego good eat out arts what you call. Yat eho daft on this yat el hinanish in needs and the list guard. Could eat egg with so there's an lean it asked send be has seat on left. Other con he bispas on a largest Yahanantahi. Other couldn't let at end of band that it could President Nez. Other case at Tahaki, brother, Vice President Liza. Ada could have shut a bit of sneer, could have Chief Justice Lounge the man start to could unwit as Arja. I could art so cool, but I just high sheet in the guard to end the arts on hit Nan Lini his staff about a dal the state nishi Shabbat the Holia. Ada conquered the issue nationally with a conquered bench in the wheat eto hit Nan Lini the other than the Haiti. So the Dashin hit net and Dini nicht at him the Dunle. Became Dini she the house. But what end assure them conquered so codon naso yard eho in non Lini be dashed on this benani dashed on this. What ego could also Lini could don't hit Nan Lini by Bahas seat on this. Could eat ego could also Lini. Now can't Lini. A job what's that a bench not in Chicago. For Yahako at Dean Nielsen. For Yahako at Eo Kodon, we humble ourselves, God, in the midst in the presence of you. Could eat ego Kodon Chico, Sonates and Don Chico. Yananas Zago Kodo, nicest candlelit God. Could eat ego it's what is in Lini Bahas seat on this. I don't hear my son hit shade, and the house hard. I don't hear the lot so that a public safety. First responders that know that they take she could only hit Nan Lini when I said I used to it arts Shabbat the Holia, don't Habat the Holia. The chapter officials and local officials and local government arts for God conquered. There's a list that I could go through in the but yet you know each and every one of our community. But what end the Kodo eat ego Kodo as a leader, the Kodo be done hitoja. What ego Kodo agenda bit about the kind of the hot sort of list. Isi did ego be his only adult be his only be nabkiel based on that it be his only another lately arts to the benefit of Navajo people. Did ego dot or arts on in check non slad or list on and nada and or list hatch in lado be a hit or in honey lad or list. Yat ehonas nani dast or list yat ehonas nadi kredole. Did ego so there's a leaning into be hasid or list God. Yet asai shinigi baby Jesus Christ. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you very much, Honorable Gay. Shehe Nakhatsadan Zenigi. Aishabag Shehilna. At Ehoshin Korosa Nitlindole. Lanta. On the agenda, we have announcements. Are there any announcements? Ms. Begay?
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Begay?
sorry. Mr. Chair, I'm sorry. You have your NABI tomorrow, and it has to do with the Arizona Gaming Compact. I believe, according to the schedule, you also have a NABI special meeting on Friday regarding the Arizona Gaming Compact. And then the week of the 12th through the 13th, the week of the 12th through the 16th, you also have NABI work session regarding the American Relief Rescue Plan for all of the various entities. You continue to have that work session. On the 19th through the 23rd, you have the 24th Navajo Nation Council spring session. And on that, during that week, RDC will not have a meeting. For next week's meeting on the 14th, our meeting will start at 8 o'clock again. And then I believe on the 28th, I also requested for 8 o'clock. So those are what we have. On the 27th of April, we have a follow-up meeting with Law and Order. But at the same day, NABI also has a work session scheduled. So those are what I have on the calendar, Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Thank you very much, Ms. Begay. Honorable members of RDC, do you have any other announcements? Atenya Hakushila. Number 2 on the agenda, introductions, and I will start with honorable members of RDC. Honorable Vice Chair Walker.
Chairman and committee members, can you hear me?
Yes, Vice Chair, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Hello, legislative staff, Shatchin, Nihagadit, Ahito, Shumayaja, Idazatra, Haikis, Ipenigibi, Ado, Dyson Nolzagito, Shing Kitchen the Hadolne, Atra, Yat Eco Hadol Kahasing, Ago home, Shinka, the East Anko, Abogadido, Jadi Ka. I think that the East Shin could be Benigibi yet, within it all the other quiet, so there's in either by getting zinc on the store. It's a leisure of care. She be none get sealed all the door, but 9 need all the Queenson. Koho Ado Chirunta do introductions she nanidne Adon and Shinigi a shin hinslam none of being petroli but chain ado Totsomi, Chedat, Edo Tzadishki National. We Western Agency, Adino, Nebanasha. Ado Tzadi Tona Tro. Na Tsako Hake, na Asana. Shlago Tassen, the Lib Hadahisto. Ebanasha, Bishwansa, and not such a dog, which RDC, Planet Leisure. Could they go? Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chair Walker. Honorable Stewart.
Good morning, Shania. Dosh and I, Kedosh, Jayaja. Arosh Majaka. Aro is not angry from a Honigiri, Benibia. Shaya Wilson, sister, Jeer, and Shadow, tell that Nasha. When I got a lab, he G the Gosh not this, but a call. I wrote what's on the Ainslam. No, Nash, I'll touch in a machine, touching as a trade of Bitcoin national without a dimension out of 45 agencies that represent for Resource Development Committee. Out of a catch and answer things on the highlight this morning. Arkansas.
Thank you, Honorable Stewart. Honorable Daniels. Honorable Freeland.
Chairman, good morning, colleagues, Nathaniel staff, everyone on the line. Good morning. We're blessed with a great day. Shana, thank you for that prayer. Really sets our day and really puts things into perspective for us this morning on the business at hand, and we got a lot to take care of going forward. So thank you for that wonderful prayer, Shana. Shija Mark Freeland, the Shiro Dosanigi Tutsoni, Snodok Kiani, Shija, Sanja Canada Shache, Adotana Bafation, these Osikade, yes, and I represent 8 chapters out of Eastern Navajo, but on RDC it's 23 plus 8. I think that's 31 chapters. The chapters that I represent are Crown Point, Nahadishki, Tse'ai, Desenti, White Rock, Lake Valley, and Herfino. Good morning to all, one and all. God bless, and let's have a great meeting, Shanta. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Freeland. Honorable Kialam Begay.
Chairman, Yananate, Arokudo, Spreaders do Barosche, Arana Sokodo, Shidachi Koda, Hanagan, Nanslon Kiani, that's a rabbit and it as a chiaro dischi, nationale. A coco legend leader, Hahotsogo. 5 chapters, but Hatashaki, Low Mountain, Hachibu Gap, Talani Cottonwood, Noslini, and many farms with Aikodo. Chapters give, but Hatasha, so did Ashi Niche Das, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Begay. Honorable Daniels. Okay, we have our honorable colleagues on the line with us this morning as well, and they can introduce themselves. Honorable Chair Eugenia Charles Noon.
Good morning, Chairman Naz and RDC committee members, Yat Bin. This is Council Delegate Charles Newton representing Shiprock community. I am the Ahni form for the Ashihe last year. It's good to be on this committee call, and I hope that my legislation will be added to the RDC agenda today.
Thank you. Honorable Vice Chair Slater. Honorable Vice
Chair Shana, Shea Carlos Slater Dashajine, Adona Nishnaliki Ani, Shea Sontana Bashashin, Tina Jenny Dashachair, Sontana Dashanella, Tenekana Nasha. Thank you very much for allowing me to present my legislation today. Look forward to doing it.
Thank you. Honorable Chairman So, Otto So. Honorable So. Okay, we'll go to RDC staff, Ms. Begay.
Staff, Chairman, I was trying to unmute myself. I'm sorry. My name is
Go ahead.
and I represent 20 is a chapter. And not quite naturally though, not a couple of chin. I don't Kudoi this is not Jai Banashah the inch Tahon Nihigiso.
Thank you. RDC staff, Ms. Begay.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Yat a bene shaya shami begin skedo na kaiden enshlo the besishin basishin tuban he data shiche tachini data shanalo da is sanan. I'm in the office today. Ado a kehat citizen habe hen zidi delegate begay but heta needs and Ado Madam Chair. Your legislation had not been referred to us yet from the OLS tracking section. Maybe you can give Manuel or the staff there a call to be added on the agenda today. Mr. Chair, back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Begay. Ms. Woody.
Good morning, Chair and RDC members. Good morning. Yat a benen hishniro the she Teresa Woody at Ashnado RDC legislators Ajabit Dashin Shahut a Stanish Lado the Hopaha Inshlo the Battles in the Bashin Kian Ada Shichedo Tinajani Shinale Ahut a Yanich Das Nido Shiaj Kialan Beke Junon Hatarens and here I don't hut on John here Hanai, I don't hut ocean John here not old Arlo yat eot Lanadi not oh yeah, here had any door niche dasses nido lake, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Woody. Ms. Khan.
Good morning. Yat e Resources and Development Committee members do yat e besh banta saane danosiniki she e Mariana Khan da shijine te hili dan asha do ne anislinigi e tohiet lini nishle but ani bashish chin lash chi dashiche chanzikina dashanala. Still, I want to say thank you very much for that beautiful prayer this morning, and I'm looking forward to a very productive meeting. I'm back on mute, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Khan. Honorable Daniels, are you on the line? Okay, Speaker's Office, Ms. Yako.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the Resources and Development Committee. My name is Melinda Urbiso-Siako, Legislative Staff Assistant for the Office of the Speaker. Thank you for having us on the call this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. BIA.
Good morning, Chair. This is Lester Sosa, Acting Regional Director for the BIA Navajo region. Thank you for the invitation, and we'll be mainly listening in. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, BIA, Ms. Curley. You have to push *6 to unmute everybody if you need to. So, anybody else from BIA?
Good morning, Chair Nance, RDC members, Mr. Gay. This is Cheryl Curley, BIA Tribal Liaison.
None. Division of Natural Resources? None. We have folks from San Juan Chapter, Chapter Manager, Ms. Tolino. Ms. Tolino.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Amanda Tolino. I'm the manager for San Juan Chapter. Looking forward to a productive meeting. And everybody have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Chapter President Samby. Vice President Sofina Tyler. Okay, anybody else on the line that would like to introduce themselves?
Chair, this is Philford from OPVP. I'll be listening in.
Thank you, Mr. Philford. Anybody else?
Chairman Nez, this is Frances Schobert from Lewis Roca. I'm here in supporting capacity with Eugenia Charles Newton, Honorable Charles Newton.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Chairman Nez, this is Steve Hart. I'm also from Lewis Roca, and I am also here potentially as an agent for the chairwoman. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Hart. Anybody else?
Good morning, Chair Nez. Can you hear me? This is Cheryl Curley, BIA Tribal Liaison.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, there have been RDC members, Ms. Begay, everyone on the call.
Thank you. Okay, Shananta, we're down to number 3 on the agenda. Ms. Begay, could you read that in for the record?
Mr. Chair and members of the committee, Resource Development Committee of the 24th Navajo Nation Council teleconferencing RDC regular meeting, April 7, 2021, 8 a.m. agenda. Presiding Ricky Nash, Chairperson, Thomas Walker Jr., Vice Chairperson. 1, calling meeting to order, roll call, invocation, announcement. 2, recognizing guests and visiting official. 3, reviewing and approving the agenda. 4, reviewing and approving the journals. 5, receiving reports, none. 6, old business, none. 7, new business. A, legislation 005321. It's an action relating to a special review of the Round Rock chapter. B, legislation 005421. This is accepting the special review of Lakachike chapter. C, legislation 005521. This is an action relating to allocating $833,333 in CSN funds to NDOT for Road 8070. And D, legislation 0062-21. This is an action relating to a change in resolution CAP 3518. 8, conclusion committee meeting, other announcement, adjournment. Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Thank you very much, Ms. Begay. Honorable members of RDC, let's establish a motion and a second. Motion.
Chairman Kelly.
Honorable Walker. Second by Honorable Begay. Nanda, any questions, comments, amendments?
Chair Naz.
Yes, Honorable Chair Charles Newton.
Thank you, Chair Naz. Chair, I would like to request that 0064-21 be added to the agenda. This is the Arizona Gaming Compact, Chair. And as you all are aware, we do have the work session that will start tomorrow. On Friday, we have the Nabik Iatke, and on Saturday is possibly the special session, or special council session to consider this legislation. So I'd like to ask honorable members of the RDC committee to motion to add this legislation to the agenda. Thank you.
Kushina, thank you for that, Honorable Charles Newton. Did you get a response from Office of Legislative Services on your legislation?
Yes, I was told that it was that everything was sent over to Shami so I don't really know what's going on. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Begay, do
Chairman.
you have those? Do you have that agenda, Ms. Begay?
Mr. Chair, let me check my email.
Chairman,
Okay. Honorable Freeland?
Chairman, good morning. Colleagues, good morning. I just got the email on 0064-21.
Okay.
Mr.
I just
Chair?
got it now too. Yes.
Mr. Chair, I just received it as well.
Okay. Thank you for that. Honorable members of RDC, we would like to establish a motion for Amendment 1 to add legislation 0064-21.
Chairman, I'll motion. Freeland.
Honorable Freeland, motion, second by
Chairman Kell.
Honorable Begay. Thank you. Any other additions or deletions on Amendment 1? None? Hakushina. We'll go ahead and vote on Amendment 1. Honorable Freeland, how do you vote, sir?
Green.
Honorable Stewart.
Green.
Honorable Begay.
Chairman Kell votes green. Thank you.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker. Chairman, I vote green. Honorable Daniels. Honorable Daniels. We have a vote of 4 in favor, 0 opposed. Chair not voting. Motion carries. We'll add legislation 0064-21 onto the agenda, sponsored by Honorable Chair Charles Newton. Thank you. Back to the main motion, Shananta. Any comments or questions? None. Honorable Freeland, how do you vote, sir?
Green, Chairman.
Honorable Stewart.
Green.
Green.
Honorable Begay.
Chairman Kell votes green. Thank you.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker.
Chair, I vote green.
Honorable Daniels. Honorable Daniels. We have a vote of 4 in favor, 0 opposed. Chair not voting. Motion carries. We'll adopt the agenda with 1 addition. Thank you, Shanantai. Number 4 on the agenda, reviewing and approving journals. There's none. Number 5, receiving reports, none. We had agreed that we would not have any reports due to the Navigated work sessions taking up time as well. Number 6, old business, none. New business, Shanantai. Before we start new business, I would like to ask our Legislative Counsel, Ms. Khan, is it okay to do a consent agenda on 3 legislations? Ms. Khan?
Yes, Mr. Chair. We haven't done a consent agenda for this committee before. Let me turn to the consent agenda. We have had consent agendas, of course, for the council, and let me just look very quickly for the rules for the standing committees. Mr. Chair, at this moment, I just see a consent agenda for the council. Now, if you if anybody, the members there, have a particular rule that they can point to me, then I will be able to review that rule. But right now I'm just seeing it for the council. And the past legislation to amend the standing committee rules was not acted upon by the council. So if it was in there, it wouldn't be applicable here, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Khan. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and read the title of each legislation and vote on it, and it'll be read by the Budget and Finance Committee. The legislation 0053, 0054, and 0055. So if that would be acceptable, Ms. Begay, could you read the first legislation into the record, the title?
Chairman Nez.
Honorable members of RDC, did you hear me?
Chairman, I'm on the line.
Okay. Did you hear what I said, Ms. Begay?
Yes, I heard you. The legislative summary sheet for tracking number 0053-21. The date on it is March 24, 2021. Title of the resolution: an action relating to Resource Development Committee and Budget and Finance Committee accepting a special review of the Round Rock chapter submitted by the Office of the Auditor General, approving the corrective action plan submitted by the Round Rock chapter. This particular legislation is assigned to Resource and Budget and Finance. When it reaches Budget and Finance Committee, the legislation will be read into the record. The prime sponsor of the legislation is Honorable Carl Slater. Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Thank you very much, Ms. Begay, for that. Honorable members of RDC, I'd like to establish a motion and a second.
Chairman Keelan.
Honorable Begay, could you hold one moment, please? I have to, just one moment here. I got a message that Ms. Khan, CJY-26-19 allows consent agenda for committees.
Okay, all right. CJY-26-19?
Yes.
Okay. And was that for Manuel Rico?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Wonderful guy. I'm glad he was listening on the phone.
Ms. Khan, let me have Mr. Rico read this into the record. That way we know we can do that. Mr. Rico, you have the floor, sir.
Good morning, honorable members of Research and Development Committee. So the language was added through that resolution, and I'll go through it right now. It added it to under the rule, let me double check. Rule 8, item B. And the language that was added at the end of the paragraph says, the agenda shall allow for the inclusion of a consent schedule, which is a listing of resolutions that will likely be approved by unanimous consent of the delegates in attendance. The consent schedule shall be developed by the chairperson upon request by any delegate, with appropriate exhibits, reports, and other matters available for review prior to the meeting. Items shall be removed from the consent schedule on the request of any one committee member for any one reason without debate. Items not removed shall be adopted by unanimous consent without amendments or debate. Removed items may be taken up either immediately after the consent schedule or placed later on the agenda at the discretion of the committee. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Rico. Could you forward that to RDC members as well as staff? Thank you. honorable members of RDC, Shananta, I would like to entertain a consent agenda for legislation 0053-21, legislation 0054-21, legislation 0055-21. I believe there was a motion by Honorable Kialam Begay. Would like to also have a second on that.
Freeland.
Thank you, Honorable Freeland. Ms. Begay, could you read the title for 54 and 55? Ms. Begay? Ms. Begay?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading to myself here. You have legislative summary sheet for tracking number 0054-21. The date on it is March 24, 2021. Title of the resolution is an action relating to Resource Development Committee, Budget and Finance Committee, accepting the special review of the Lukachikai chapter submitted by the Office of the Auditor General, approving the corrective action plan submitted by Lukachikai chapter. Again, this legislation is assigned to both Resource Development and Budget and Finance Committee. When it reaches Budget and Finance Committee, the legislation will be fully read into the record. Mr. Chair, members of the committee. And the next one would be legislation 0055-21. The legislative summary sheet, the date on it is March 25th, 2021. Title of the resolution, an act relating to Resource Development, Budget and Finance Committee, Nabakia Committee, and the Navajo Nation Council, allocating $833,333 in CSN fund to the Navajo Nation, to the Navajo Division of Transportation for Route 8070 road improvement project, and approving and adopting the Route 8070 road improvement project expenditure plan pursuant to 12 NNC section 2501 through 2508. This legislation is assigned to Resource Development, Budget and Finance, Nabakia Committee, and Navajo Nation Council. Until it reaches Nomination Council, the packet will be fully read into the record. You will note that all of the exhibits that are referenced in each of the legislation that I read into the record, they all have the exhibits that are attached to the packet. Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Thank you very much, Ms. Begay, for that. Honorable members of RDC, are you ready to vote? Yeah. Honorable Freeland, how do you vote, sir?
Green.
Honorable Stewart?
Green.
Honorable Begay?
Chairman Kiala votes green. Thank you.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker?
Chairman, I vote green.
Honorable Daniels? We have a vote of 4 in favor, 0 opposed. Chair not voting. Motion carries for the 3 legislations. Thank you. Honorable Slater?
Good morning, colleagues. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present on the consent agenda today. We have 2, I would say, non-controversial CAP reviews or submissions and special reviews for Round Rock and Lukachukai. the relevant officials and CSCs are on the line in the event that you would like to hear from them. And Chair, I'll defer to you whether you want to go into the presentation from the Auditor General. But just moving forward, the last legislation 55-21 restores $833,000 that was line item vetoed by former President Russell Begay in Cap 3518 for Rock Point chapter. They designated the improvement of Road 8070 as their priority. And because it is a Bureau of Indian Affairs asset, even though the Navajo Nation owns all the roads, the BIA maintains those ones. RDC is very familiar with these issues. The former president elected to exercise his line item veto authority. And this is a new administration, but there is the same capital improvement strategy out of the chapter. And so we as a community are petitioning to the council and right now to RDC to please restore the $833,000 that was line item vetoed for this very important school bus route that serves elderly's EMS. It does everything for the community. So Chair, like I said, I will defer to you on whether you'd like the presentation now for Ms. Briscoe, or if you'd like to go to vote, considering the time exigencies and the fact that this will go to the Budget and Finance Committee.
Thank you, Honorable Slater. We did vote on it, so we're fine with it. We're going to move right along. Thank you.
Oh, I thought that was just to create the consent agenda. Thank you very much, colleagues.
There you go. Honorable members of RDC. Next on the agenda is legislation 0062-21, which I'm the sponsor of. So I'll hand a virtual gavel to Honorable Vice Chair Walker. You have the floor. You can facilitate now.
Okay, thank you, Chairman and committee members, presenters, agents, and listening audience. This is Vice Chair Walker. Ms. Begay, can you give us a reading of the legislation?
Mr. Chair and members of the committee, you have legislative.
Excuse me, Mr. Pro Tem Chair. I hate to bust in like this, but I have a question that I think needs answering right away before we go on, and I might have missed it. But
okay,
thank you very much. Did RDC vote to go to have the consent agenda, or was that included in Amendment 1? Or I just want to make sure that our records are very clear. I guess this question is going to Ms. Shami Begay, whether the record shows that the consent agenda was accepted.
Ms. Begay?
Mariana, on
Yes.
Amendment 1, we have Mark Freeland and Key Allen Begay motioning parties, a vote of 401. That's to add 0064-21. Then the committee went to move to do 005321, but Chairman Naz raised the question on the consent agenda, and it was answered. And so based on that response to Chairman Naz, there was a consent agenda with a motion by Key Allen Begay, second by Mark Freeland, with a vote after all three legislation titles were read into the record. There was a vote of 401 with Herman Daniels not voting. Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Thank you, Ms. Begay. Legislative Council?
Thank you. That does, the way she reads it does sound like the consent agenda, the decision to have a consent agenda was voted upon, Mr. Presiding Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Khan, for asking that question, and clarification was given. Okay, and then proceeding forward, Ms. Begay, reading the legislation.
You have legislative summary sheet for tracking number 0062-21. The date on is March 26, 2021. The title of the resolution and action relating to Resource Development Committee, Budget and Finance Committee, approving a change in Resolution CAP 35-18, Exhibit D, project number D5, deleting the project description, multi-purpose site improvement, and adding road improvement for N566 and N361, plan, design, and construct, and changing the funding year to year 3. This legislation is assigned to Resource Development and Budget and Finance Committee. Prime sponsor of the legislation is Honorable Ricky Naz. Again, this legislation is will be going to Budget and Finance Committee, and it's just a change in Resolution CAP 3518 with regards to the projects. The packet has all of the exhibits that are referenced in the content of the legislation. You will note that the packet was posted on the council website on March 29, 2021. And the 5-day comment period ended on April 3rd, 2021. And there were no comments received. Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee.
Thank you, Ms. Begay, for the reading of the legislation today. Is there a motion, committee members?
Motion, Stewart.
A motion made by Delegate Stewart. Is there a second? Key Allen. Second by Delegate Key Allen Begay. Okay. The sponsor, Chairman Rick Nez, give your presentation.
Thank you very much, Honorable Pro Tem Chair Walker and Honorable members of RDC. Legislation 0062-21 is a project change, and the project change will be from a multi-purpose site improvement to a road improvement for Road 556. The title there says N566. That number is incorrect, so that needs to be corrected to N556 and N361. I also have San Juan chapter manager on the line as my agent. She can also clarify that this is the correct road number, N556. And I would like to just state that for the record, Honorable Pro Tem Chair Walker.
Okay, Hakushi. Thank you, Chairman Nez. Advisor, Ms. Begay, do we do an amendment to the legislation to make those corrections?
Mr. Vice Chair, I believe that question could be raised to Mariano. I would say yes, but at the same time, she may think that it's a typographical error. I'll refer that to Mariana.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Begay. Ms. Khan, can you provide us clarification on that? Does this correction need to be made through a motion and a second and a vote by RDC, or is it noted as a typo and it can be corrected? Ms. Khan.
Mr. Pro Tem Chair, I see it as a typo, but to be on the safe side, I recommend that an amendment 1 be made, and with the language that in every place in the legislation in which the highway is numbered 566, a correction be made to 556. And that could be voted upon, and then it would be in the record and go on to the Budget and Finance Committee. Mr. Pro Tem Chair.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Khan.
Committee members, you heard the need for a correction on this legislation. The road numbers, if you wish to make an amendment, committee members.
Chairman, Key Allen.
Mr. Begay.
Motion. Chair, motion to correct the proper road number where it references N566 to be changed to N556. Those are the in the rest of the legislation that needs to be noted. Chairman, that's my motion.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Begay. She correction that is stated. Amendment motion. Is there a second, committee members? I'll second. Delegate Nez. Okay. Chair Nez offers that second to the motion to this amendment number 1. Okay, committee members, questions on the amendment? Questions or comments? Going once? Questions, comments? Going twice? Okay, if not, then I'll call for the question. Okay, so how do you vote, Honorable Freeland?
Green, Che.
Green, Che, okay. Honorable Freeland votes in favor. Honorable Wilson, how do you vote?
Green, Shajah.
Honorable Wilson Stewart votes green in favor. Honorable Key Allen Begay, how do you vote?
Green, brother.
Green brother, so in favor. Okay, Honorable Nez, how do you vote? Delegate Rick Nez votes green. Okay, we have another vote of green in favor. Honorable Daniels is excused. We have a vote of 4 in favor. Opposing, there are none. That motion carries. We approved amendment number 1 to the legislation. Back to the main motion. Any other questions, comments, RDC members? If not, then we can proceed to vote on the main motion with 1 amendment. I'm going to go ahead and call for the vote. Honorable Freeland, how do you vote on the main motion?
Okay.
Green, okay. Honorable Freeland votes green. Honorable Stewart, how do you vote?
Green.
Green. Honorable Stewart votes green. Honorable Key Allen Begay, how do you vote?
Key Allen votes green. Thank you.
Key Allen Begay votes green. Chairman Nez, how do you vote? Delegate Rick Nez votes green. Another vote of green by Rick Nez. Honorable Daniels, he's excused. We have a vote of 4 in favor, none opposing. So the motion carries with 1 amendment. Thank you for the vote. Thank you for the presentation of the legislation. I'm going to give the virtual gavel back to the chair. Chair Nez. Thank you very much, Honorable Vice Chair Walker. Appreciate it. Also, thank you, representatives from San Juan Chapter. We'll move down to E, legislation 0064-21, sponsor Chair Charles Newton is on the line with us. Ms. Begay, could you read this into the record, please?
Mr. Chair and members of the committee, you have a legislative summary sheet for tracking number 006421. The date on it is March 30th, 2021. This is an act relating to resource development, Navajo Committee, Navajo Nation Council, approving and adopting the Navajo Nation State of Arizona amended and restated Gaming Compact 2021 Arizona Compact Amendments, related appendices and transfer pool agreements, memorandums of understanding with other tribal governments. This legislation is assigned to Resource Development, Navajo Committee, and Navajo Nation Council. Prime sponsor of the legislation is Eugenia Charles Newton. And there's also a signature on it that I'm not sure who the co-sponsor is, but there is another co-sponsor on the legislation. The exhibits that are referenced in the content of the legislation are attached to the packet that was sent to you this morning. All of the exhibits are attached. You will also notice that at the very end, you are on page 77, the legislation Internet Public Summary will show that the packet was posted on the council website on April 1st, 2021. And the 5-day comment period ended April 6th, 2021, and there were no comments received. Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Thank you very much, Ms. Begay. Honorable members of RDC, let's establish a motion and a second.
Chairman Freeland.
Honorable Freeland, second by.
Chairman Keelan.
Honorable Begay, thank you very much. Honorable Chair Charles Newton, you have the floor. You have 20 minutes.
Good morning, Chair Naz and members of the RDC committee. Thank you, Shanav, Honorable Mark Freeland, and also should say Kealan Begay. Thank you for putting this legislation 0064-21 on the agenda. Just for clarification, the co-sponsor on this legislation is Pernell Halona. So I just want to clarify that. So in 2003, the Navajo Nation approved the first Arizona Gaming Compact after an initiative and a referendum was passed by people in the state of Arizona. In 2009, that compact was amended. In 2019, the Navajo Committee members were assigned to the Gaming Subcommittee, which consists of 8 council delegates. During the entire year of 2019, the Gaming Subcommittee met monthly, and in some cases we did meet weekly. We also met with tribes during the negotiation of the compact. I believe at one point we had 19 tribal leaders and their attorneys discussing and negotiating the terms of the compact. We had about 13 meetings between July and December, previous to the pandemic hitting the Navajo Nation. As a highlight to the compact, there are some additions and expansions made to the compact that will benefit the Navajo Nation, and the years for the compact have also been expanded as well. I do have 2 agents on the line with me, Steve Hart and Francis Schoberg, both from Lewis and Roca, who are both very a big part of negotiating the compact on behalf of the Navajo Nation. I will go ahead and allow them the opportunity to speak, to provide some information to the RDC committee. I do have to make clear, however, that some questions may be asked that would require us to go into executive session. The reason behind this is we are still in the process of negotiating the terms of the compact. And so so really what's happening is as a strategy for negotiations, some of these strategy moves cannot be revealed at this time. So if any questions do come before us and it does require us to go into executive session, we will at that point ask that we do go into executive session. Once the compact has been approved by the Navajo Nation Council and signed by the president, then it does become public information. But until then, we are asking that some questions be answered in executive session. So I do want to make that clarification up front. With that, I'm going to go ahead and call upon my agents, Steve Hart and Francis Schoberg. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair Charles Newton. Appreciate that. Mr. Hart, when you do your presentation, please do not go into the sensitive areas of this legislation. This legislation will go before Nabagia Committee as well as the full Navajo Nation Council. Therefore, at either one of those two, there can be a request for an executive session for the full council to hear. So I would just advise that you just summarize on important parts of this legislation, Mr. Hart. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I will be careful with regard to executive information, and we won't be, unless somebody specifically asks, we won't be walking into that territory today. I would say that our compact priorities, as we started this process we started back in October of 2016. We were coming about a year out of negotiating the New Mexico Compact. So we had some history in working with the gaming subcommittee, and that was very beneficial. And we identified priorities right at the beginning. And those priorities are as follows. First, extend the compact to create certainty for development and operations. The length of a compact is critical for the amortization schedules and the certainty that the tribe will have, the nation will have, about its ability to offer gaming. Protect tribal exclusivity. Exclusivity is exclusivity from commercial gaming, because commercial gaming could, of course, have significant inroads into our revenue and the viability of our progress or of our gaming enterprise. The next priority was to provide a full scope of gaming. Full scope of gaming is very important because specifically with regard to Twin Arrows, our competition really is Laughlin and Las Vegas. And both, of course, of those jurisdictions have a full range of gaming, whether it's craps and roulette, sports betting, they can offer the whole thing. And until this compact that we are now trying to work on getting approved, in Arizona, there was a limitation on games to slot machines and blackjack. That was really the limitations for the facility. Provide for sports betting and fantasy sports. That's another important angle on this particular compact, because we wanted not only to be able to offer sports betting within the facilities, but we wanted also to be able to offer mobile sports betting on a phone, on the internet, off the reservation. And there's legislation that's going through the Arizona legislature right now on this that would allow 10 licenses for Indian tribes and 10 licenses for sports facilities, and then some smaller licenses, limited licenses for racetracks and OTBs. And so that's an important piece. Not only will the nation be able to offer a full range of gaming on their property, but we're trying to move and go beyond that and be able to offer to bets and our operations to customers across the state. We have to protect transfer pool agreements. Transfer pool agreements, very important. What the compact from 2002 did is it allowed tribes like the Navajo Nation to transfer to other tribes like Gila River, Tohono O'odham, Fort McDowell, their excess gaming device operating rights. So the Navajo Nation had a lot of ability to add machines as their rights in the compact, and we were able to turn that into a pooling agreement, which meant that we didn't lose any facilities, but we were able to get, it was approximately $125 million that was allowed from the first pooling agreement. Now, as we go into the next compact, we want to extend that pooling agreement. And I don't want to get into the figures deeply, but I will tell you that we expect that this transfer pooling agreement, extended transfer pooling agreement, will yield about $220 million during the length of the compact. The length of the compact itself is a very important issue. This compact will last for over 25 years, probably to 27 years. And that allows, again, as I mentioned earlier, about extending the compact. It gives us greater amortization schedules. We wanted to increase the bet limits. Bet limits have been very low in Arizona, and they've been so limited that they've taken away tribal decision-making as to what really makes sense to charge or to allow as a wager or bet limit and what doesn't. Finally, we wanted to make sure that the revenue sharing payments to the state were not increasing. Revenue sharing in Arizona for the Navajo Nation, approximately, there's also a public record, approximately just a little under 3%. We reduced it down to 0.75%. And by doing that, we will save in excess of $500,000 a year for the nation. And then the final thing is there's some streamlining of regulation that's gone on. The compact is still a strong regulatory compact, and the Navajo Nation Gaming Regulatory Office has a very important role in that. But now we have streamlined the regulations so that it will make it easier for Navajo members to get licensed quickly and obtain jobs in the facilities, and also for vendors, businesses, Navajo beef, the like, to move forward. So that's a quick, I think that took me about 5 minutes, quick overview of what we've been trying to accomplish. We have been able to accomplish virtually all of these goals. And I think that the last thing that I'd like to say, and then I'll turn it over to Frances if she has anything she would also like to add to the presentation. The one thing I wanted to talk about was, this will be, I'm going to have to be a little bit careful about this and generalize as the chairman suggested, but I wanted to talk about the numbers because, we protect the Navajo Nation rights in the gaming compact so that we can generate revenue and create jobs for the nation. That's what it's all about. This is business. And we anticipate that with regard to revenue sharing, I already mentioned that will save $500,000 a year on transfer of pool agreements over the course of the compact, which will go out until 2048. We think that we will earn some $221 million. There will be expanded gaming for mobile and off-reservation sports betting, expanded gaming for roulette, craps, and baccarat, expanded gaming for slot machines. Probably that won't impact us too much. The others will quite a bit. Highway 89 is an important issue. That's the Horseman's Lodge, and we are going to be hopefully developing the Horseman's Lodge, and that's something that the compact allows for. Extended duration I mentioned, and streamlined regulation. When you put all of these things together, the gaming, the NNGE, the gaming enterprise has done a assessment of the projected value for the life of the compact, so out over the 25 to 27 years. They believe that this compact will bring to the nation almost $600 million, just shy of $600 million. So it's a very significant item, and we feel that we've been successful in the task that we were assigned to do. And thank you for listening to me. If anyone has any questions, I'm here.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Francine?
Thank you, Chairman. I think Steve was very comprehensive, and the important points that I would just underscore are that we were given 9 compact priorities from the gaming subcommittee for the negotiations, and I think that it's fair to say, based on the votes and the direction we've received from the gaming subcommittee, that the compact priorities set forth by them have been addressed to the satisfaction of the gaming subcommittee. And I can go into greater detail, and will go into greater detail in the work session when we have an executive session, and I look forward to doing so. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Back to you, Madam Chair Charles Newton.
Thank you, Chair. And also thank you, Steve and Francis, for providing that information. Chair and members of the RDC committee, that concludes our presentation. We stand for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members of RDC, do you have any comments or questions on legislation 0064-21? None?
Chairman.
Honorable Kialan Begay, you have the floor, sir.
Chairman, the Kudon Hasanaki legislation 6421 out of Kudoshima legislation in Sozaki. You don't have to provide these documents maybe at the work session or whenever we're going to have an executive session, Shema. I'd like to review all the confidential exhibits for my review. ADG, maybe during whenever the council will be, I don't know if it's going to be available to the council during the executive session to review all those exhibits that deems confidential for public view. ADH I'd like to further ask, I think I don't know, the reason of Teal landing their facility in Glendale is the reason they're really concentrating on the locations. I don't know if this is new, because but none of our I don't know how it's going to affect down the road if the city of Farmington or Gallup, I'm sorry, Arizona, I'm sorry, but to some extent, if the growth starts coming to that level, that the facility, I'm not sure when the city of Flagstaff will get to the level of a population that deems that the Twin Arrow facility will be deems that it's not complying with the agreement with the dot Nishiki. So Edaya Koto Igisiki Benite Dish Kid, I'm not sure if we're vulnerable to these other that's all. Yet these tribes, they're kind of like covering their territory. Twin Arrow is the only one on the southern part of the Navajo Nation. The other area that I'd like to know more, if within, I guess that's within the Navajo Nation, but I don't know if I haven't seen this within the compact, is the expansion of gaming, the Navajo Nation. That's one area that I need to know what the subcommittee of gaming is really aiming for as well. If there's going to be any expansion, because the locations of these facilities should be along the route, better improvement smart highway in on the I-40. If there's going to be mobile betting in the area, I mean, people driving through could probably, I don't know, be able to participate in where the Navajo Nation could generate funding. I don't know. I mean, these are some areas that I think I'd like to get more information on. But just, you don't need to get all these documents to me today, but maybe at the next NABI, if not at the council level, if not at the work session release. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Begay. Honorable Chair Charles Newton.
Thank you for asking that question. So just very quickly, confidential exhibits will be sent in addition to other documents. I'll go ahead and turn the floor over to Frances Schober. She has been working on that, but know that delegates will be receiving that. Frances?
Thank you, Chairwoman. Delegate Begay, already at Office of Legislative Counsel, they have binders of information. They received them yesterday with all of the confidential exhibits for the delegates. So there should be plenty for you to go ahead and check in with OLC and take a binder for yourself for your own review. We also, for those who are not able to pick up a physical copy, have a share file, a confidential share file, and you can reach out to Chairwoman Charles Newton for my contact information or Rachel Felix, and we can make sure that you have access to those electronic copies if you would prefer to review them electronically.
Thank you. Honorable Begay, do you have a follow-up question?
That's it, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members of RDC, do you have any comments or questions?
Chairman.
Honorable Freeland, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. Colleagues, Resource Development Committee members, Shadeja, thank you for the presentation as well as your agent. I too want to ask a question that will probably have to be answered in executive session, but I have a generalized question related to the process. And, you know, I guess I was witness to what the nation did on New Mexico side when they worked with the state, and I watched how the tribes were really paying attention to Navajo in particular, you know, and there was a couple of other tribes I think that were working on their compacts as well, but a lot of tribes were eyeing Navajo because of the, you know, had Northern Edge and flowing water, and then, you know, the issue with Fire Rock, the 3 casinos came up, and, you know, I know Arizona expanded their gaming capabilities as far as, you know, tables, and I think there's also fantasy betting. But what are other tribes? I guess my question is, are tribes really paying attention to this process as well in the Arizona side? and how are they? Are they supportive? Or are they non-supportive of Navajo, or a lot of them just being neutral? I guess that's my question, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Freeland. Honorable Chair Charles Newton.
Thank you, Chair Naz, Otto, Mark Freeland, for asking that question. So just to be, I stated this in the introduction, we were meeting with 19 tribal leaders at one point. There are 21 tribes in the state of Arizona, but we did have 19 in the room. Some of them were non-gaming tribes, so they didn't have casinos, but they were still part of the compact discussion and negotiations. So they have been paying attention to what has been going on, and they, as far as I know, from based on the dialect with them, they seem to be supportive. And again, there was a lot of give and take, because obviously each tribe came to the table wanting their tribe to get a little bit more of that, I guess, the piece of the pie. However, there was a lot of negotiation that went on. And as I stated in my introduction, with those tribal leaders were also their attorneys. So we were all present during that time. And that was being led by Vice President at the time. So as far as I know, I think the answer is yes, they are paying attention and they are being supportive. But I'm going to go ahead and let Stephen Francis answer that question more in depth. Thank you.
Mr. Hart.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Honorable Freeland, Thomas Freeland. I think you have raised a very, very good question. And you're absolutely right that a full answer should be given in executive session. We'll be having the work session tomorrow, and we anticipate that a substantial part of that will be in executive session for these reasons. But if I could just, for the moment, give you my kind of background or overview of this from about 10,000 feet. It was my honor to represent the nation during the 2015 compact in what was eventually the 2015 compact in New Mexico. In New Mexico, of course, what happened was 4 or 5 tribes, including Navajo, and in some ways led by Navajo, moved forward with the compact. And then afterwards, a number of other tribes, I think all of the tribes, ended up signing that same compact. And that was, I think, because it was a good compact and it worked for everybody as matters kind of played out. So certainly as we were going through the process, many tribes were concerned about how that was going to work and what was going to be in that compact. And in the end, I think it was a successful process. With regard to the Arizona process, it has been similar, though we have been able to stay together as a large group of tribes for a longer period of time. As the chairwoman mentioned, we had up to 19 tribes in the room at a time. That's a lot of different tribes, a lot of different opinions, but we've been able to do well. And I can tell you that without a doubt that the Navajo Nation has been supported by other tribes, respected by other tribes, and it's very clear to me that particularly the biggest of the gaming tribes are concerned to make sure that the Navajo Nation has been treated well during this process, and that the compact works for the nation. And I'd be happy to go into much greater detail both on this and also the question from Honorable Delegate Key Allen Begay. Also asked a very good question, which if you guys are available tomorrow morning, perhaps we'll be able to have some discussions about it. That would be
very much.
all.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Honorable Freeland, do you have a follow-up question?
Chairman, thank you. Stated up, Mr. Hart, thank you for that, Chairman, as well. Yeah, I do. I guess what I'm thinking in terms of, I always talk about SWOT analysis with our chapters, but the threat is what I'm more concerned about, especially with neighboring tribes, those who are close to us. This could probably go into executive session, but I just something to consider for tomorrow. What are our neighboring tribes? What are their thoughts on this whole process as well? And what do they see? And I'm particularly concerned about the Twin Arrows area as well, and the potential development of that area for other tribes. So yeah, Chairman, thank you. I'll get my answer tomorrow, though. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Freeland. Honorable members of RDC, do you have any other questions or comments? None. I will go ahead and put it to a vote. Honorable Freeland, how do you vote?
Green, Chairman, thank you.
Honorable Stewart?
Great.
Honorable Begay?
Comment.
Chairman Kealan with Green.
Okay.
Honorable.
This
Honorable
resolution
Stewart? Honorable Stewart, or is that you?
Sorry, Chair.
Okay. Honorable Vice Chair Walker?
Chairman, I vote Green.
Honorable Daniels?
I vote Green.
Thank you. We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Chair not voting. Motion carries for legislation 0064-21. Thank you, Honorable Chair Charles Name.
Thank you, Chairman Naz and members of the RDC committee.
Thank you. And we're down to number 8 on the agenda, but before we do, there was a question raised by our legal counsel, and on the consent agenda, and the concerns, the way this is our first consent agenda that we entertained this morning, so there was a little bit of confusion, and perhaps I created that confusion as well. So I would like to go back and make a correction, and I would like to have us establish a motion to accept the consent agenda actions. The way that we should have done it was establish a motion and a second for a consent agenda to be placed on the agenda. And then after that approval, we'd go down to item A, B, and C and vote on that also. So I kind of got confused here by doing so. So I'd like to go back and make that correction to have a motion to accept the consent agenda be added to the agenda for actions.
Mr. Chair, this is Shami.
Yes.
You already have established a motion with Kealan Begay, Mark Greeland, motioning parties with a vote of 4 in favor, 0-1. That established the consent schedule for the agenda item. So your next motion and second will be to accept the 3 items that were on the consent agenda, and we'll be okay with that, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you for that clarification, Jeanette. I would like to have a motion to accept the 3 consent agenda legislations. Motion? Honorable members of RDC, motion?
Chairman Kealan.
Thank you. Second by?
Daniels here.
Honorable Daniels. Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on this? None. Honorable Freeland, how do you vote?
Green.
Honorable Stewart?
Yes.
Honorable Begay?
Chairman Kale votes green. Thank you.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker.
Chair, I vote green.
Honorable Daniels.
Green.
We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting, motion carries. Thank you, Shananta. We're down to number 8 on the agenda, conclusion of committee meeting. Honorable members of RDC, do you have any announcements? None. Motion to adjourn.
Chair, I motion.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker, motion, second by
Freeland.
Honorable Freeland. Any questions? None. Honorable Freeland, how do you vote?
Green.
Honorable Stewart.
Green, Chair.
Honorable Begay.
Chairman Kale votes green. Thank you.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker.
I vote green.
Honorable Daniels.
Green.
We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. It is currently 9:38 a.m. We will adjourn at this time. Thank you. We have another work session at 10 o'clock as well, but in now in 20 minutes. Thank you. Be safe, Shananta. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Chair. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm going.